I noticed that we were a little distracted just when I introduced the presidential candidate of APGA. So I'm going to introduce him again so that you can welcome him properly to the podium. Professor Peter Umeadi is the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance. Thank you very much. Prof, you have the floor now.
Yes. Thank you very much. I'm impressed to be here, and I know how an occasion like this feels. I will race through my presentation, and I hope you find it entertaining, and I hope that gives you a mirror into this humble man who, after serving in the judiciary, thinks he can make a difference in the executive. Thank you very much. Sustainability, used interchangeably with sustainable development, refer to the encouragement to search for that development which meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. The pillars of sustainability are human, environmental, social, and economic. There is insecurity in Nigeria of 2022. It is a paradox that this is the same Nigeria which led peacekeeping operations worldwide. By whatever name you call it, unknown gunmen, insurgents, militants, terrorists, or kidnappers. People are afraid to move about by day or night, in long-distance travel or around their neighborhood. When we hear of solutions to use agriculture to achieve food security, it falls flat on its face. It presents a conundrum. The villagers have fled the farms for fear of their lives. We should prioritize human security. No firepower should be higher than that of the state. It is the prerogative of the state to overwhelm any other groups, take control of its sphere of influence, and enthrone and enforce the rule of law. In this regard, I support the bringing about of state police in Nigeria. Environmental sustainability is fundamental and critical to the survival and sustenance of other forms of sustainability. The aspects which come to mind here is land degradation as a result of exploitation of natural resources. On a trip to Port Harcourt to visit my sister and her family, I set out to visit the place of my nativity, which is Abonima. I joined a speedboat, which was a mere canoe fitted with an engine. The boat was traveling at excessive speed that I had my heart in my mouth all through the journey. I saw firsthand that the water and the banks were saturated with oil. One could see the sheen. I saw the hundreds of holes on the banks, which I later learned were crab holes and such like creatures that survived there. We know that oil was first drilled in Ogoni in 1958. However, it took nearly 6 decades in 2017 for the Nigerian government and oil producers to begin to clean up the spills, which you can bet started in 1958. The hydrocarbon pollution and remediation project was formed for that purpose. Shell Petroleum beat its chest that he donated an initial sum of $10 million. It has been recorded that oil worth $100 billion had been taken from that place. From a combination of effects of oil spill, acid rain, resulting from gas flaring, the environment had been degraded continually with attendant destruction of the traditional local economic support system of fishing and farming and crop yields and harvests. Let us compare with what happened in other places where environmental sustainability is taken seriously. In April 2010, the British Petroleum offshore oil drilling in Louisiana, United States of America, spilled oil which coated more than 1,000 miles of coastline in 6 states and covered over 46,000 square miles of the Gulf of Mexico. Within months, the United States government of Barack Obama forced BP to pay 15 billion US dollars in cleanup costs. BP, in fact, paid a total of 60 billion US dollars, including 20 billion US dollars in economic damages to companies and individuals harmed by the spill. See David M. Ullman of University of Michigan, 23rd of April 2022. BP removed most of the oil from the Gulf Coast beaches. Over the next several years, the visible sheen of the slick eventually disappeared. That is the ideal in environmental sustainability, which we should copy. Same should go for the excavations for solid minerals going on across the country, which are generally uncontrolled, yielding erosion sites and other forms of degradation. We should have a more cumulative impact assessment. We should have community-based assessments completed with community's perspective. We should increase cross-boundary policy making and transnational governance, which will enable us to involve and hold entities responsible even from far places. In social sustainability, we should review our education system. I recommend the German model, where all start and proceed to the middle level, then separate for those who want to continue in the white-collar jobs and those who have tendencies to technical trainings. The structures for technical education will be defined, leading to skills acquisition and self-employment. We will aim to build skills acquisition center playgrounds across the country in the fashion that party offices were built in the past. I am committed to implementing the Child Rights Act. About 11 states are yet to domesticate the Child Rights Act, and these 11 states are all in the north. I will hold parents of children roaming the streets accountable. I envisage free internet for students. Wireless fidelity internet shall apply to secondary and primary school students. The policy will later extend to homes. The app will supply an autonomous repository of millions of free Wi-Fi hotspots all over the country, which will bring out the desired effects. I will want to achieve and revive the post office. On economic sustainability, we will focus on economy stimulation, job creation, manufacturing, local production, education, and health. Steps will be taken to maximize government revenue, optimize expenditure, and enshrine the regime of prudence with our emphasis on value. We will pay attention to the informal economy. Here, Nigeria has comparative advantage over other countries in Africa, with over 53% of our labor force so engaged and yielding 65% of the gross domestic product. There is a line which I found, and I want to repeat it before my time runs out. It is a line in the United States Postal Service's motto, which says, "Neither rain, nor hail, nor sleet, nor snow, nor heat of day, nor dark of night shall keep this carrier from the sweet completion of his appointed round." Such is the work and patriotic ethics which should be imbibed and which I'm thinking about for Nigeria. In all, an ABGA presidency will want to fulfill what the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, defined as follows: sustainable development is the pathway for the future we want for all. It offers a framework to generate economic growth, achieve social justice, and exercise environmental stewardship and strengthen governance. Efforts should be made for these skills to be imparted to our youths in the informal sector so that they can move into secure and less precarious forms of employment, with the German model, which I mentioned earlier, will give up. The pivotal issue is electricity and should be taken care for the benefit of larger society and implementation of all facets of our economy. So here you go. You have a sincere man, a man who has removed himself from the picture, and a man who is ready to lead a party that is resonating around the country, which is the All Progressive Grand Alliance, to victory in 2023. Thank you very much.